Hello out there, and welcome to the Danny.
And Riana show. This is Danny Pena, Rihanna's husband.
And this is Riana Manuel Pena, Danny's wife. And today we're going to talk about the history of the Video Game Awards. Well, the Game Awards, as it's called now.
VGAs, that's old. That's like that goes way back from Spike TV.
It does. And we'll talk about that. So, the Game Awards is something that you may hear us talking about a lot. You may hear other people in the industry talking about. But we wanted to do a quick little reflection because Gamertag Radio, Danny's show, is coming on their 20th anniversary, and the Game Awards are coming on their 10th. And it's always nice to look and see where something came from, what the experience has been over the years before you go to celebrate something on a real big milestone year. So, let's just get right into it. Danny, what was your first experience with the Game Awards?
Well, I'll tell you one before we have this conversation. I have to mention that previously, back in the days, we had the Video Game Awards, the
Yes,
VGAs,
this
and
is
that was
important history for people
yeah,
who don't know.
and it was part of Spike TV, and that one was not that great. It felt like some of the guests that will go on stage were making fun of the gamers, the
Mm.
video game industry, just making fun of it. You get to see people there on stage or performing that just don't care about gaming at all. So it was kind of weird. Fast forward, I think towards the end of the video game awards, I remember they did it in the studio, and that's when the first time No Man's Sky was announced was through
From
there.
Hello Games, yeah, that
Hello
was a
Games, yeah.
big moment. Everybody got really excited about it.
Yeah, and also there was people that I used to work with at G4 when we were part of the X-Play team that also worked on that broadcast of the Video Game Awards back in the old days. So then fast forward, Jeff Keighley decided to do his own awards with his own money, I remember. And it was like a huge risk because nobody knew that this was going to be a successful award show or not. I remember one of the highlights, I think, in my opinion, that I was like, oh my God, I have a couple throughout
Yeah.
the 10 years. One was seeing The Walking Dead season one winning game of the year. That was really cool to see an independent game compete with like the big AAA games, and that one won game of the year. So that was really cool. Also, seeing a reveal of a brand new next gen console for the first time. Nobody was expecting that at all.
Yeah, that's the kind
Xbox
of thing you
Series
usually
X.
saw at E3.
I was actually in New York watching it. I remember as Xbox Series X, and Phil Spencer, the head of Xbox, was there and announced a brand new console. Nobody was expecting. That was like a very iconic moment, I think, in gaming. And a month after that, we had him on our show. So that was like a very important moment for us too, for GTR. And also just being part of the jury select, like being part of the jury for the first time a couple years back. That was something that I always wanted GTR to be part of. So getting the opportunity, that was really cool, and it's been great ever since. And one of the things too that I love too, ever since we moved here to LA, going and attending the awards and seeing people in person, because back then I would just watch it from home. I'm like, is it worth me flying over here? So I had to be very selective on events, what to travel. So it was always E3, not Game Awards. But living here in LA and attending has been eye opening, and I feel like it's a very important event to attend, not only to watch the awards, but also seeing people in the industry in person, for networking purposes or just celebrate together, that type of things.
Yeah.
Those are like my highlights, I think, in my opinion, for me.
Okay. And I like how you took us through the years, from the beginning to more recently. As you said, we joined the jury for Gamertag Radio. For those who don't know, the first Game Awards was in 2014, and I pulled up some interesting tidbits about it.
Okay.
So it was December 5th, so a little bit earlier, but around the same time into the year. The show host was Sydney Goodman, who is still hosting the awards to this day.
Shout out to Sydney. Shout out
Shout
to
out to
her.
Sydney. We love you. You've always done a fantastic job with the show, and we're really happy that Jeff has stuck with you and kept you on our screens for the Game Awards because you're a wonderful leader for that show. It was at the Axis in Las Vegas, so it was not here in LA. It was actually in Vegas that first year in 2014. And do you remember what the first game of the year was?
That I don't remember.
It was Dragon Age, which we
It
just
was
talked
Dragon Age.
about. We just
Wow.
talked about this for this week's episode of GTR, Gamertag Radio, how Dragon Age the Veilguard is the sequel 10 years later,
Wow.
only up for one award, and it is not Game of the Year. But Dragon Age Inquisition won Game of the Year in 2014.
Interesting.
And in addition to the Game Awards, there's also the Game Awards concert, which Danny and I have attended at the LA Philharmonic here. And
Oh yeah, last year. Last year.
yeah, and
That
it
was
was
fun.
phenomenal. Like hearing the Hollywood Bowl, hearing the music of these games that we love and have lived in for so long in that space and on that stage and elevated in that manner and treated with such reverence and respect in such a beautiful concert was really touching, honestly. And Danny, I'm glad that you mentioned the contrast of the experience of the Video Game Awards or VGAs back on Spike TV, because it did feel slightly disrespectful in a lot of instances. There are clips and things you can go look up, but truthfully, the video game medium and the industry have had to do a lot of fighting for respect over the years. And it's a shame because it's really just a creative medium. I don't know why it's so controversial that, there's people who make art who do video games, and video games can be considered art. It's not that hard to come to that conclusion. But for so long, and even still to this day, there's the image of, a gamer is somebody who sits in the basement and they don't shower and they live at home with their parents. And a lot of millennials live at home with their parents these days, but they're generally just like exiled from society by choice or by force, and that they're terrible people. It's like just not true. And of course, that person exists in every hobby, right? In every pastime. The gamers are the ones you tend to see getting picked on. But truthfully, there's jerks and nerds everywhere in any kind of fandom. But gamers are Danny, gamers are me, gamers are my mom, gamers are like all kinds of people. And it's really great that the Game Awards have brought so much more respect and just professional regard to this medium and this industry, because it deserves it. And I have been really happy to see where the Game Awards have gone over the years. There are, of course, celebrity camos, people from Hollywood, musical guests, things that you see at other award shows. But what I am excited to see starting to happen is more focus on the developers, because they are the ones who make the thing that we're all talking about. That's why we're all here. That's why we're all in love with this stuff. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm excited to see the future of TGAs and more time spent on the devs and their stories and how cool it is what they do. Like it's fascinating. We've seen a lot of documentaries about game development over the last couple of years. More recently, South of Midnight from Xbox and the team at Compulsion Games, and it's just really cool to see like how they come up with this stuff, right? Like how they get inspired for the stories or the art or the environments or the enemies. And I hope to see more pieces like that in the Game Awards. I know there are a lot of advertising spots that get sold, and they need to, because it's an
Mm-hmm.
expensive show, right? It's in person, there's hundreds of people there, it's a huge production, and rightfully so, the people who put it on deserve to be compensated for their time. But I do hope there's also space to celebrate devs the way that they should be. And I know we're getting there, gradually. We've come a long way since Spike TV.
Yeah, way, way, way a long
Yeah.
time.
And flowers have to go to Jeff Keighley. I know it's not one person's job to get all this stuff done, but he really has driven this and has really pushed everything in the direction of where we are today. And without him, it doesn't happen at this level. And I'm glad that he's stuck with it, because I'm sure there are times when it was really frustrating and feedback was really tough. But for the better of everybody in the industry, we're still going strong. And I'm excited to be there this year, in person again.
Yeah, same here. And look, people, they don't know how hard it is to organize an event. Like it's
So
very
hard.
hard, very hard. And look, every year there's going to be some mistakes, there's going to be things, but I think it's good for people to give feedback to Jeff and the team, and again, it's going to get better and better, better and better, and I remember there was one year, oh my God, this is a long time ago. I think, was this the Game Awards, where somebody left the live stream on while they were doing rehearsal, and we
Oh,
already
that was.
knew, we already knew all the winners and everything, yeah, ahead of time. I'm like, again,
Hmm.
that was like during the early stages of the Game Awards. People make mistakes, that type of thing. But like
Yeah,
last year,
bummer.
Like last year, it was to wrap it up. I bet this year's going to be a lot better, where developers going to be on stage longer time than previously. But people also going to understand, like, organizing these type of events, awards is not easy at all. So you gotta
And it's
give
hard to
gotta give
mix.
props to them, to
Yeah.
Jeff and the team.
And unlike other award shows, like you think of the Grammys or the Oscars or the Golden Globes or whatever, it's tough because the Game Awards have to balance like being an advertainment show, but also an award show. Like the Grammys don't have to hold a bunch of spots for new releases or new albums coming out in the future, but the Game Awards really do have to, because this is the only show in this end of the calendar year that people have eyes and ears on to this degree, that gives companies, publishers, developers the opportunity to get in front of a lot of people. Otherwise, you have to wait till like January, February. And right here before the holiday season, like it's really important for the industry to get people excited to go buy stuff. You know what I mean? Like, and without consumers buying games, none of us are here anymore. So I understand it's frustrating if you feel like there are a lot of advertisements as opposed to awards, but really the show has to be both. And I think Keely and the team have done a really great job of balancing that responsibility, because it doesn't happen any other way. And I think like I said, it's been moving in a good direction. I get excited about stuff that I see announced at the Game Awards, like when the Hades 2 video came on at the one that I was sitting in the audience next to Andrea Renee from Let's Get Games, and I saw the little art style in like a slash and then the two eyes glowing, and it looked like Zagreus from the first game's eyes, and I screamed out loud. I was like, Hades 2! Like those moments are so fun. And we don't have a lot of in-person events where we're all sitting in a big room and cheering for stuff anymore. So I'm really happy that we still get to have those experiences with the Game Awards. I'm excited to see what they're going to announce this year. I know Snoop is going to
Yeah.
be there.
Oh,
I've
I'm
heard
ready
about,
for Snoop.
I
I'm
heard about
ready.
Snoop as a musical guest.
I just hope he doesn't show up all the way to the end. I want
They
to see him
save
from the
him for
beginning.
last.
Yeah, get the crowd hype.
Yeah.
Usually he's probably going to be
Somewhere in the middle,
somewhere in
second
the
half.
middle. Yeah, I could definitely see that.
Yeah, I
But
think that's where Halsey
Yeah,
was when we had the Diablo.
yeah, you're
Halsey.
right.
That was
You're
that was
right.
the most
You're
recent
right.
one that I remember that I was really hyped for, because I love Halsey.
Now, here's something really cool that I'm glad to see this during the week of the Game Awards. There's also going to be other kind of like direct events digitally
Similar
where.
to Summer Game Fest and how there's different showcases around that time in June.
So today there's going to be one, by the time of this recording, is from BVI Gaming. That's a Black Voices in Gaming.
The PC gaming show is already aired, but by the time you're listening to this.
Okay. Tuesday is going to be the Latin American Games Showcase, and also there's a Wholesome Games. That's
Wholesome Games, yeah.
that's another one, but that's happening today. And Wednesday is going to be Day of the Devs and Women-Led Games, which is
Yay.
really cool to see.
And if you
Yeah.
want to keep an eagle eye out for women-led games, you might see me on your screen in a little something something. So check that one out.
Oh, wait, Women-Led Games on that one?
Women-led games.
Oh, snap. I thought it was from something else, but okay, good to know.
Yeah.
Really cool.
We've been busy.
Really, really cool. Yeah, I think this is really cool to see this type of partnership and highlight some of like independent games from like Latinos, from like women, Black developers. It's really cool seeing this. Overall.
Yeah, again, shout out to the team for doing that, because they don't have to.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
it's really good to see everybody kind of being lifted by the same tide. Rising tide lifts all boats, and hopefully get more of that. More. We just always want more of that, supporting each other.
Definitely. Anything else, Ree, before we wrap it up?
No, just a quick little talk about why we get so excited about this stuff. If you listen to the Danny and Rihanna show and you're not so much on the gaming insider stuff, this is why it's important to us, and why we get so hyped, and why we get dressed up and make the best dress list whenever we can.
Whenever we can. Yeah, I mean, a couple people hit us up like, I can't wait to see what you guys gonna have on. I'm like,
Oh yeah.
We'll see.
Oh yeah. I mean, even last year when we weren't there in person, we still made the best dress list. So
I know, and we were just
saying.
home with baby.
we were here with the baby.
Yeah.
3 weeks old. 3
I
weeks
know,
old.
and you
Now
look
she's a
great.
year.
You
Thank
look
you.
great too. I mean, you always do, but
Thanks.
you know what I'm saying. All right, guys. So we're gonna wrap it up here. Thank you so much for watching the Danny and Rihanna show. We'll be back next week. Might be our last episode for the
For
year.
the year, I think so. Obviously, this is a household. We have a life, we have family, and we want to take some time and focus on that for just a little bit. But we'll be back going strong in early January.
And potentially, this is a potential. We might record an episode internationally. Just saying.
We'll let you guys sit
Maybe.
on that.
Maybe we'll see. Maybe, but that's next year, sometime next year. But anyways, guys, we're gonna be out, and we'll be back next week. Take care. Bye.